Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a very sensitive topic that chances are there are going to be a lot of people who disagree with each other. So, on one hand, I do my best as both a journalism professor and a YouTuber to not be political. But it's impossible to not talk about politics to a certain extent in this video. Because you'd have to be under a rock, and maybe even then, Patrick Star style, you'd still know that there's a war going on right now in the world. And regardless of your thoughts on it, this has impacted the Russian players in Russia who play MCOC. A couple months ago, when the war started, I think all the way back in February, Kabam sent out a notice that they were temporarily suspending the ability of players in Russia to play. Keep in mind that quite a few of these people, due to a combination of things, including a different media kind of crackdown in that country than others, didn't even know what was going on. And I heard from some of those players. I also heard, more than anything, from alliances who had those Russian players in their alliances. And they were bummed because some of these players had been there for years. They considered them friends, and they were going to have to figure out how to either go on without them. Let's say that you had one player from Russia in a battle group. Well, you're going to have those 9 people do probably both war and alliance quest without a 10th member, which some maps obviously are more conducive to that than others. Well, now it is May 18th. It is not February. And Kabam has released this in-game inbox message for those players in Russia. And all I have to say is, whoa. Greetings. Which, again, I always say greetings, YouTube. It's usually like a hello to my subscribers, my fans, my haters, the trolls, the bots. What up, bots? So greetings, again, positive message with or positive beginning salutations greeting with a very not so positive message. As of May 31st, so in less than 2 weeks, at the end of the month, any games published by Kabam will no longer be available for download on the App Store or Google Play Store in Russia. And then one of the weirdest, most cryptic messages at the end, we thank you for your interest in our games. Now, I have heard the phrase, the acronym, whatever you want to call it, VPN, more times than I even can share with you this month. I have heard so many people much smarter than I am about not just coding, but ways to log in, explain, well, that there are still opportunities to do this. I heard this first. Of course, I'm not involved in a lot of the behind-the-scenes chats on Discord and Reddit and Line, but I heard this first when somebody was saying, well, you can still get Marvel Insider rewards. You just got to do something with the VPN. And I was like, oh, that's kind of fascinating. I grew up with a channel called UPN. Not the same thing at all. In this case, like, I'm sure there are some people who maybe aren't for what their country is doing. Or maybe they are. I don't know. You don't know. All we know is those players, unless they do that VPN thing or something else, are no longer going to be able to download the game. So, imagine you have the roster that you have that you're watching this, and you've spent, maybe you're free to play, but maybe more than likely you spent hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands, hopefully not millions of dollars on the game. Well, when the new patch comes out in June, it's going to say you have to download the new patch to play the game. And when you go to download the new patch to play the game will not exist in the App Store, and thus your opportunity to play, unless you do one of those things that people behind the scenes are saying to do, will be done. No refunds. I mean, I guess if I was you right now, I would try this if I was in Russia. Worst case scenario, they say no. But If you can't play the game in 2 weeks, you might as well ask. This is a big deal. Now, again, maybe it's temporary. Regardless of how you feel about a war, I think everybody wants it to be over. Maybe if it's over by the end of 2022, Kabam will reinstate the ability in both the Google Play and Apple App Store to be able to download the game. But for the moment, these players are just cut off, and that's a bummer for them. And it is consistent with what I guess a lot of games are doing. So this is not just a Kabam thing. In fact, maybe Kabam is following the playbook for what other major mobile gaming companies are doing in this country. But at the same time, to all the Russia players caught in the crosshairs, I'm sure you'll be missed, especially in your alliances. We all want an end to this conflict as soon as possible. And hopefully these players will not be saying goodbye to a game they love forever, because this was awfully abrupt. Again, I know this is going to be a triggering video to people, and it's different, but it's the news, right? It's life right now. And you know this channel. I don't back away from the controversial or hard topics. I lean into them, if anything, because that's what's going on in the world, and we might as well talk about it.